In September 1996, something unusual happened in the Great Lakes region. A hurricane, yes, you heard that right, a hurricane-like cyclone formed in the middle of Lake Huron. Most hurricanes form in the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. In fact, there are some hurricanes that will hit the east and the southeast coast of the United States and weaken before heading northward, dropping large amounts of rain. But this time, this is not the case. This storm system formed specifically over the Great Lakes region. On the 11th of September 1996, a storm was centered over northern Lake Michigan. Its central pressure was 1,012 millibars and traveled to the southeast. Analysis of the atmosphere concluded that the cyclone circulation extended into the upper troposphere. But the conditions were just right because of some very strange weather. As it moved across the region, the storm crossed over Lake Huron and then moved over Lake Ontario and then back to Lake Huron while stalling over Lake Huron. On the 14th of September 1996, maximum wind speeds were recorded at 75 miles an hour or 120 kilometers per hour, which was on the threshold of a Category 1 hurricane over Lake Huron, according to the Saffir-Simpson scale. Since this large lake, Lake Huron, just like the oceans, is at its warmest in August and September every year, with temperatures in the 70s and sometimes in the early 80s. The relatively warm air began to rise over Lake Huron on the 14th of September and began feeding the storm warm, moist air, just like a tropical storm. The air pressure dropped to 990 millibars over Lake Huron, and by the 14th of September, the cold center of the storm had turned warm and formed a rising air column that fueled a spiraling system of storm clouds. Yes, there was a distinct eye of Hurricane Huron. Viewed through satellite images, it looked just like a hurricane. In fact, it could be considered a hurricane. It even had a calm eye in its center whose diameter was 20 miles or 32 kilometers. On the 15th of September 1996, the storm eventually moved eastward, stalling over northeast part of Lake Ontario, bringing with it lots of rain and high waves on both Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. This is the first ever recorded hurricane-force cyclone that formed specifically over the Great Lakes. Thanks for watching.